Okay, this is part, like, I don't know, 8 of service B. We're gonna do the fuel filter next. You need a 7mm to take off this hose clamp, and then we're gonna get this air filter box out of the way, and then we should have pretty good access to the fuel filter. Pop these. You also gotta take off the positive battery cable on that side. In order to remove this, there's a tab on the bottom that you have to push in, and then this whole unit slides up. This is the tab. Like that. Now I gotta get something to stand on. Not even close.
This is literally the worst cameraman ever.
The next couple minutes are me and Braden kind of just being silly while we were working on this thing, so I wanted to show you guys what we were actually doing. So here's the fuel filter, and this is held in with this bolt here, this bolt here, and this bolt right underneath that plug. I had to rotate this tube up to get access to that rear bolt there, and I also removed this bolt here and this bolt here in order to protect this fuel, or I think it's a return line, a fuel return line T, which is notoriously weak. I just moved this whole kind of bridge piece forward, and I also took out a little clip here to remove this just to get it all the way out of the way, because when you lift the fuel filter up out of the hole, it's very common to break that off.
Go for it.
So now we just take out the screws, really just take out any screws that are nearby, really, that you feel like shouldn't be there.
Anything holding something in needs to go.
Yeah. Definitely take out the ones that look like they are bad. The tube is definitely in the way, but I don't want to remove this tube because there's a seal inside this tube that you're supposed to replace if you take the tube off. And I don't have that seal.
That's not even the same size.
That's not even the same size bolt.
Yeah.
What the freak? And while you've got access, you always want to make sure that your little spinny boy in here looks okay. And now is a good time to start thinking about what it would look like with a bigger one, just in case you ever want to make more boost. You need a bigger boosty boy.
Bigger snail.
I think it's easier if you take this off, because this T right here is very fragile, but if you take this whole bracket off, then you can get it completely out of the way and you won't break that piece. That one's really short. Make note of that. With this little clip and a little wiggle. Now that should be fully out of the way enough to not get destroyed. What if I just rotate this guy out of the way? Loosen this guy just a little.
Isn't that bad? Chicken out.
It wasn't even tight to begin with.
Classic.
So I think now I can rotate it. Oh, I can't rotate it because that other piton.
Rotator cuff surgery?
That's probably, might be enough though.
Facts.
Hit him with that rotation cuff.
Oh yeah.
That's the move right there.
Now you're off. No way.
Oh, no shot at all.
You make it so bad. That's why I hate German vehicles.
I effing hate cars.
Never working on another car in my life. I'm gonna do the multitasking. I'm going to do it.
Now we gotta unplug this John. Alright, so these connectors from the factory are pretty freaking tight. and they're sort of a pain in the nuts to undo. But my technique is probably frowned upon, but it works for me. And basically what I do is I push the connector on all the way, and then I push the lock tab down and pull the connector out slightly, as much as I possibly can. Wiggle it and pull it and whatnot. And the connector here is off, but I'm not gonna push it back on because it's a fight. But basically what you wanna do is get in between the base and the slide off connector piece with a flathead screwdriver or something, and just kind of rotate it and work side to side, back and forth, and it will slowly creep off until you can get it the rest of the way. And I've barely put this back on by hand, and now it's very tight again, but it should come off like that. That's just a little trick that I've picked up. I start off with a really small screwdriver, and then once the gap opens up, I had to work up to a bigger one, but eventually it came off. But you just got to be super careful because you can break the plastic pretty easily if you crank on it too hard.
Facts.
I didn't do a very good job of explaining how I removed these two fuel fittings. So what I did was I got a small screwdriver inside of the crimp just like this, and then I just kind of rotated it inside the hole to pop it open. There are pliers specifically designed to open and close those clamps, but I don't have them, although they are pretty cheap. I would probably recommend to get them if you're going to be doing this, but if not, I used a small flathead screwdriver to open them, and I used a pair of needle nose to close them. Here's our fuel filter, freshly removed. It came out with this bracket, which is just held around the canister with this clamp, so you can take this out while it's still in the vehicle, but I thought it would be easier to do it once it was already removed from the vehicle. So it was a little bit of a fight to get this thing out, so I didn't put it on camera, but I can tell you what I learned along the way. This connection here has a small plastic horseshoe retaining clip like this, and this guy sits in this groove and it locks it in there. This is inside the hose, so you've just got to push this up with like a pick or a small screwdriver, and then wiggle this line off and pull it off of this O-ring connection, and then that's done. I showed you how to do the electrical connector, and these two fuel lines have reusable crimp-on hose clamps. If you get a small screwdriver inside of the crimp, you can rotate the screwdriver inside there to pop the crimp open, and then the rubber hoses will be stuck on these barbs. If you grab them with a pair of pliers and rotate the hose around the barb, then it should pull off pretty easily. And those are my tricks. It helps. Just be careful. Bubby does the most amount of work to do the least amount of work.
Yep. Get this John rocking. Oh, that was actual poop. Yeah, you can't tell me. So good though. You can't tell me any different. Oh, it smells atrocious. You literally. That was that Hershey's.
Great. Is that on? That's on video. Mint.
That was that Hershey's squirt bottle. Oh, that's so funny. That better be in the video. That's so funny.
So there's special pliers to put these crimp connectors back together that I don't own. I'm kind of too cheap to buy them. But I think you can just do it like this. And by think, I mean, I hope you can just do it like this. Oh yeah, needle nosers for the win. Oh yeah, Mr. Are you feeling it now, Mr. Krabs?
No. Should I be? I'm not.
Is it shit?
Should I be feeling it?
Okay. Alright, so that's in. So now we just gotta rotate this guy back down. Like, that never even happened. Yeah, this is the non-pressurized side, so you really want to make sure that you crank this down nice and tight so that the vacuum doesn't leak out at all. This T-fitting is notoriously fragile, So I just removed the pin to get it out of the way while I was doing work in the area so that I didn't break it off, because if you break it off, you're kind of stranded. But that clip just holds it in place. Now it's nice and nice, and I'm just going to put this bridge back on. The short bolt goes on the passenger side, and the long bolt goes on the driver's side. I'll snug these guys back up, and then we'll check for leaks, and this will be done. We just started up the engine with this off to the side, but the intake tube connected to the MAF to make sure that there was no leaks at the fuel filter. It's a little bit easier to see if this is just pulled off to the side. We obviously put it back into place and everything was good. So this job's done.